The sky over New York turned purple on a Tuesday morning. Not the soft purple of dawn or the deep purple of a storm, but an electric, unnatural purple that made people stop and stare. Traffic halted. Phone calls ended mid-sentence. Children pointed, upward, their eyes wide with wonder and fear. "It's happening," whispered Mark Jones, a street vendor who had been selling hot dogs at the same corner for 20 years. He had always believed that someday aliens would come. Now, as the massive shadow of something impossibly large darkened the city, he knew he had been right. All across Earth the scene repeated. In Beijing, Moscow, London, Rio, and 100 other cities, the same purple light filled the sky. The same massive ships appeared, hanging in the air like metal mountains. For 3 days, the ships just watched. They made no moves. They sent no messages. The world's governments tried to contact them but got no answer. Some people ran and hid. Others celebrated in the streets, thinking the aliens had come to save humanity. Most just waited, wondering what would happen next. On the 4th day, the aliens spoke. "People of Earth." The voice came through every radio, every TV, every phone, and even devices that were turned off. "We are the Galactic Council. We have watched your world for many years. The time has come for you to join us." The voice was deep and strange, like it was coming from something not made to speak human languages. It explained that the Council ruled over 500 worlds across the galaxy. Earth would be the 501st. The world's leaders gathered in an emergency meeting at the United Nations. They chose Admiral James Wilson to speak for Earth. At 62, Wilson had led peace talks during the last war, which had finally ended all major fighting on Earth 10 years earlier. His calm blue eyes and steady voice made people trust him. "We need to be careful," Wilson told the room full of nervous leaders. "We don't know what they want from us." The aliens asked for a meeting, and Wilson agreed. The next day, a smaller ship landed in a field outside of New York. Wilson stood waiting, along with 20 other representatives from around the world. They watched as a door opened in the side of the ship, and 3 tall figures stepped out. The aliens were not what anyone expected. They looked almost like humans, but taller and thinner, with skin that shifted colors slightly as they moved. Their eyes were large and completely black. They wore simple gray clothes that seemed to move with them like a second skin. "I am Ambassador Lorne," said the one in front. Its voice sounded more normal now, though still deep and strange. "I speak for the Galactic Council. We are pleased to welcome Earth to our community of worlds." Over the next week, Lorne and the other aliens explained many things. The galaxy was mostly peaceful now, but there was a threat. Something they called the dark space threat was attacking worlds at the edge of known space. Every member of the Boer Council had to help fight this enemy. "We need soldiers," Lorne said. "Earth has many strong fighters. Your people have fought many wars. You understand battle. You will join our forces and help defend the galaxy." The aliens offered amazing things. In return, they would share medicine that could cure almost any disease. They would give technology that could end hunger and fix Earth's damaged environment. They would teach humans how to travel between stars. But there was one condition. Earth had to send 1 million soldiers to fight in the Council's war. Wilson listened to all this with a serious face. When the aliens finished speaking, he asked for time to discuss their offer with Earth's leaders. Lorne agreed to give them 3 days. The debate was fierce. Many leaders wanted to accept the offer right away. The alien technology could solve so many problems. Others were afraid and wanted nothing to do with the aliens or their war. Wilson sat quietly through hours of argument. Finally, when everyone had spoken, he stood up. 10 years ago, he said, "we ended the last war. We promised ourselves and our children that Earth would never again send its people to die in battles. We have worked hard to keep that promise. And now these visitors from the stars ask us to break it." He looked around the room, meeting the eyes of each leader. "I believe we should join this Galactic Council," he continued. "We should learn from them, trade with them, become part of the larger community of worlds, but we should not fight their war." The room erupted in angry shouts and worried questions. Some leaders banged their fists on the table, others looked thoughtful. "They might attack us if we refuse," said the leader of Russia. "They might attack us anyway someday," Wilson replied. "But we will not be the ones to break our promise of peace." After 2 more days of discussion, the vote was taken. It was close, but in the end, most leaders agreed with Wilson. Earth would join the Galactic Council, but would not send soldiers to fight. When Wilson told Ambassador Lorne the decision, the alien's skin turned a dark blue color. Its large black eyes blinked rapidly. "This is not done," Lorne said. "No world has ever refused the call to arms. It is your duty to fight for the galaxy that now protects you." "We understand your disappointment," Wilson said calmly. "But Earth has seen too much war. We will gladly offer other help. Our doctors are excellent. We can provide medical aid to your soldiers. We can help with food, supplies, and peaceful solutions. But we will not fight your war." Lorne and the other aliens talked among themselves in their own language, which sounded like music and whispers mixed together. Finally, Lorne turned back to Wilson. "This is not the normal way," the alien said. "But the Council values Earth's potential. We will accept your unusual terms. You may join as a non-military member, providing medical and humanitarian support only." The agreement was signed the next day. The aliens gave Earth their first gifts of technology, machines that could clean polluted water and air, and medical devices that could heal injuries in minutes. They also set up a small station in orbit around Earth, with 20 alien representatives who would help humans learn about their new place in the galaxy. As the main alien ships prepared to leave, Ambassador Lorne had one last meeting with Wilson. "Admiral Wilson," the alien said, "I respect your world's choice, though I do not understand it. But you should know that the Council has existed for thousands of years because all members do their part in our common defense. Your world is taking a risk by standing apart." Wilson nodded. "Every choice has risks, Ambassador. But some principles are worth those risks." Lorne's skin shifted to a lighter shade. "I hope you do not come to regret this decision." As the massive ships lifted away from Earth, turning the sky purple one last time before disappearing into space, Wilson watched from his office window. He felt both hope and worry. "We will not fight your war," he whispered to the empty sky. "But I hope we have not started our own." The words hung in the air as the sky returned to its normal blue. Earth had made its choice. Now they would have to live with it. 20 years passed after Earth joined the Galactic Council. The world changed in ways no one could have imagined before the aliens came. Tom Reed walked through the busy hospital on the alien planet Nexus. At 45, his hair was starting to turn gray at the sides, but his eyes were bright and full of energy. As the head of Earth's Interstellar Medical Corps, he had helped build 12 hospitals on different alien worlds. This one on Nexus was the largest. "Dr. Reed, we need you in room 7, called a nurse. Her skin was blue and she had 4 arms, but she wore the same white coat as human nurses back on Earth. Tom hurried down the hallway, passing aliens of 6 different species. Some were patients, others were doctors or visitors. 20 years ago, the sight would have shocked him. Now it was just his everyday life. Inside room 7, a young alien soldier lay on a bed. His green scaly skin was pale, and he breathed with difficulty. 3 other alien doctors stood nearby, looking worried. "Dark space weapon," one of them explained to Tom. "The damage spreads through the body. We can't stop it." Tom checked the soldier carefully. Earth had become famous throughout the galaxy for its medical skills. Humans couldn't match alien technology, but they understood pain, healing, and care in ways that surprised the other species. "We need to treat each affected area separately," Tom said. He took out special medicines developed by Earth scientists. "Human bodies fight infections in a similar way. We can adapt our methods." After 3 hours of careful work, the soldier's breathing improved. His skin began to return to its normal dark green color. "He will live," Tom told the other doctors. "And he can teach us more about these dark space weapons, so we can save more soldiers." Later that day, Tom sat in his office looking out the window at the strange purple trees of Nexus. The war against the dark space threat had grown worse over the years. Every month, more wounded soldiers came to his hospitals. Every month, the Council asked Earth to send fighters, not just doctors. His computer screen lit up with an incoming call from Earth. Admiral Wilson's face appeared. The Admiral was now in his 80s, his hair completely white, but his blue eyes were still sharp. "Tom," Wilson said, "how are things on Nexus?" "Busy," Tom replied. "The fighting is getting closer to this sector. We had 15 new patients, today with dark space weapon injuries." Wilson nodded, his face serious. "The Council is putting more pressure on us. Ambassador Lorne has been replaced." "Replaced? But Lorne has been our main contact for 20 years. The Council says Lorne was too soft on Earth. The new representative is called Commander Vex. He arrived yesterday and he's very different from Lorne." Tom frowned. "That doesn't sound good." "It isn't," Wilson agreed. "Vex made it clear that the Council is unhappy with our arrangement. They say we're taking advantage of the protection they provide while giving too little in return." Later that week, Tom watched the broadcast of the Galactic Council meeting. Earth now had a seat at the giant round table where representatives from all Council worlds met. Wilson sat in Earth's chair, looking small next to the larger alien species. Commander Vex stood at the center of the room. He was taller than Lorne had been, with dark red skin and eyes that glowed slightly. His voice was harsh as he spoke. "The war reaches a critical point," Vex announced. "All worlds must increase their military contributions, especially," he turned to look directly at Wilson, "those who have contributed no fighters at all." Wilson's voice was calm when he answered. "Earth continues to honor our agreement. Our medical teams have saved thousands of Council soldiers. Our scientists have developed new treatments for dark space weapons. We provide food, supplies, and support to 50 battle zones." Vex's eyes glowed brighter. "Medical teams, food, supplies." He said the words like they tasted bad. "While other worlds send their people to die, Earth sits safe behind the protection we provide. You are parasites, taking the benefits of Council membership while others pay the price in blood." Gasps came from around the room. No Council representative had ever spoken so harshly to another member world. Wilson didn't raise his voice. "We made our position clear 20 years ago, Commander. Earth will not fight your war. We contribute in other ways as agreed." "Perhaps that agreement was a mistake," Vex said. 3 days later, as Tom was finishing his work at the Nexus Hospital, a loud boom shook the building. The lights flickered and went out. Emergency lights came on, casting red shadows across the frightened faces of staff and patients. "What's happening?" Tom shouted, running into the hallway. A nurse with 6 legs came running toward him. "Council military exercise," she said. Something went wrong. Their weapons hit the east wing of the hospital. Tom's heart seemed to stop. The east wing had over 200 patients, most of them human doctors and nurses who were resting between shifts. He ran through the smoke-filled corridors, helping to carry injured people out of the damaged building. By the end of the day, the terrible news was clear. 189 humans and 45 aliens had died in the accident. When Tom called Earth to report what had happened, Wilson's face grew pale on the screen. "This was no accident," the Admiral said quietly. "It's a message from Vex and the Council." Over the next month, more accidents happened. A ship carrying medical supplies from Earth was destroyed by pirates, who somehow had Council military weapons. 3 more human medical stations reported equipment failures that killed dozens. Earth's government sent a formal complaint to the Galactic Council, demanding an investigation into these incidents. The Council meeting to discuss the complaint was short. Commander Vex dismissed the deaths as unfortunate but minor incidents in a time of war. "Perhaps," Vex added, looking at Wilson, "if Earth contributed actual fighters to the war effort, your people would be better protected." Wilson stood up from his chair, his old voice strong with anger. "Are you threatening us, Commander?" Vex's skin darkened to a deep crimson. "I am stating facts, Admiral. The galaxy is at war. In war, accidents happen. especially to those who refuse to do their part. After the meeting, Wilson called all Earth representatives from across the galaxy to an emergency discussion. Tom joined from Nexus, his face grim on the video screen. "They're trying to force us to join their war," Tom said. "These attacks are just the beginning." Wilson nodded. "The Council has changed since we joined. Vex represents a new, harder approach. They see our refusal to fight as weakness." "What do we do?" asked another representative. Wilson looked at each of their faces on his screen. "We stay true to our principles. We continue to heal, not harm. We help those we can. And," he paused, "we prepare. Because I fear worse is coming." As the call ended, Tom looked out his window at the stars above Nexus. Somewhere out there, the war against the dark space threat continued. But he couldn't help wondering if a new war was about to begin, one that would come to Earth itself. "We will not fight your war," he whispered, repeating Earth's old promise. He hoped it wouldn't become Earth's epitaph. The warning came too late. "Unknown ships entering the solar system," announced the operator at Earth's Spacewatch Center. On the big screen, 20 red dots moved quickly past Neptune, then Uranus. They were heading straight for Earth. "Try to contact them," ordered General Kate Brown, who had replaced the now-retired Admiral Wilson as Earth's military leader. At 50, she had never fought in a real war. No one on Earth had, not for almost 30 years. "No response, General," the operator said after a minute. "But their energy signatures match Galactic Council military ships." Kate grabbed her phone and called the Council's Earth station. "This is General Brown. We have Council ships entering our system without permission. Please explain." The alien face that appeared on her screen was not one she recognized. "Earth Station is under new management," the alien said coldly. "Commander Vex sends his regards." The screen went black. Kate looked up at the big screen again. The red dots had passed Mars now. "How long until they reach Earth?" 6 hours, General." Kate took a deep breath. "Alert all defense stations. Call every military officer back to duty, including retired ones, and get me the President." Across Earth, people watched their screens in fear as the news spread. Alien ships were coming, and this time, they weren't coming in peace. In London, Mary Cooper was teaching a class on military history when her phone buzzed with an emergency alert. Mary was 45, with short gray hair and quick brown eyes. She had never served in the military but had studied every major battle in human history. "Class dismissed," she told her students after reading the message. "Go home to your families." As the students left, one young man stayed behind. "Professor Cooper, what's happening?" Mary looked at him sadly. "I think the history I've been teaching is about to become very useful." 6 hours later, the alien ships entered Earth orbit. They made no demands, sent no messages. They simply opened fire. The few defensive satellites Earth had were destroyed in minutes. Then the ships started targeting major cities. The shields that aliens had helped humans build 20 years ago stopped most of the damage, but not all of it. Buildings fell. Fires started. People died. As the sun set over a burning London, Mary Cooper made her way to the emergency government center set. Up in an old underground station, she had received a direct call from General Brown asking for her help. "Professor Cooper," Kate greeted her as she entered the crowded room filled with military officers and government officials. "Thank you for coming." "I'm not sure how a history teacher can help," Mary said honestly. Kate's face was grim. "You're the world's expert on how humans fought wars before we had alien technology. That knowledge just became the most valuable thing on Earth." On the screens around them, they could see alien ships landing in fields outside major cities. Troops were marching out wearing armor that glowed slightly in the darkness. "They expect us to be helpless," Kate said. "They think because we've had peace for 30 years, we've forgotten how to fight." Mary looked at the screens, her mind racing through the battles she had studied all her life. "They don't understand humans very well, do they?" Within hours, Mary was working with military leaders around the world, helping them remember tactics that hadn't been used in generations. The aliens had better technology, but they fought in ways that were predictable. They expected direct battles, army against army. Mary had other ideas. In New York, the alien forces marched down Broadway, their weapons ready. They met no resistance at first. Then, from windows and rooftops, ordinary people attacked with whatever they had. Not soldiers, teachers, office workers, and store clerks who had been quickly taught by retired military personnel. They didn't try to win a direct fight. They hit and ran, disappeared into buildings, reappeared somewhere else. The same thing happened in every city the aliens entered. They would secure an area, only to find themselves under attack from another direction. Their advanced sensors couldn't tell fighters from civilians because everyone was both. In Paris, aliens taking control of the Eiffel Tower found the whole structure rigged with old explosives from a museum. In Tokyo, the subway system became a maze that aliens entered but couldn't navigate. In Rio, the narrow streets of old neighborhoods became death traps for alien patrols. A month into the invasion, Commander Vex called an emergency meeting aboard his ship in orbit. The alien leaders looked uncomfortable as they shared their reports. "We hold only 12% of the territory we expected to have by now," said one officer. "Human resistance is not what we expected." Vex's red skin had darkened with anger. "They refused to send soldiers to fight our war for 20 years. How can they suddenly know how to fight so well?" "They never forgot," said another officer. "They just chose not to." On the ground, Mary Cooper worked day and night from the moving headquarters of the human resistance. They never stayed in one place for long, using old trains and underground tunnels to move between cities. "They're trying to use their ships to track our communications," a young tech expert told her one night. Mary smiled. "Then we won't use modern communications." She pulled out old military radios that used frequencies the aliens didn't monitor. She set up messenger routes using bicycles and runners. She even used carrier pigeons found in a hobby shop. General Kate Brown worked closely with Mary. Between Kate's leadership and Mary's historical knowledge, they formed a resistance that grew stronger each day. "The aliens know how to fight a space war," Mary explained during a strategy meeting. "They don't know how to fight humans who don't play by their rules. They use tactics from every war in human history. Vietnam's tunnel systems, World War II's resistance networks, ancient Roman defensive formations, American Revolutionary War hit-and-run attacks. Every dirty trick, clever strategy, and desperate measure humans had ever invented was put to use." 2 months into the invasion, the aliens controlled only small areas around their landing ships. They had expected to take the whole planet in weeks. Now they found themselves surrounded in every city they had entered. In London, Mary watched from a hidden position as aliens tried to secure a bridge over the Thames. Her group had let them get halfway across before blowing up both ends, trapping the alien unit. "We're not winning yet," she told Kate over their secure radio. "But they're definitely losing." In orbit, Commander Vex received the latest reports with growing rage. What should have been an easy conquest of a peaceful world had turned into a nightmare. The Council had assured him that humans were soft, that they had forgotten the art of war in their decades of peace. The reports from his forces told a different story. Humans remembered war all too well. They just hadn't wanted to fight someone. "Elsa's, send more ships," Vex ordered. "Double the invasion force. I want this planet under control in 1 month. His second-in-command looked nervous. "Commander, the Council has not authorized more ships. They still officially deny involvement in this operation." Vex's eyes glowed dangerously. "Then I will take personal command on the ground. These humans will learn what it means to defy the Galactic Council." As night fell over the battlefields of Earth, Mary Cooper looked up at the stars, knowing the aliens were watching from above. "We will not fight your war," she whispered, repeating Earth's old promise. "But we will fight for our home." 3 months into the invasion, John Black sat in a small room under the ruins of what had once been a library in Chicago. At 37, he had dark circles under his eyes from lack of sleep. Before the aliens came, he had been a professor of linguistics, studying how different languages worked. Now he studied the enemy. Around him were pieces of alien technology, broken communicators, damaged data pads, and parts of weapons. His small team had collected these from battlefields across North America. While others fought the aliens, directly John fought them with his mind, trying to understand their language and technology. "I think I've got something," he told Lisa, one of his team members. She had been a computer programmer before the war. Now she helped John break into alien devices. For weeks they had been collecting and studying alien communications. The aliens spoke many languages, including several human ones, but they used their own language for military orders. John had been trying to translate it. "Look at this pattern," he said, pointing to symbols on a screen. "It appears in every battle plan we've captured. I thought it was just a military code, but it's more than that." Lisa looked closely. "What does it mean?" "It's about the dark space threat," John said slowly. "The enemy the Council has been fighting for centuries, but something doesn't make sense." He showed her more translations. "See these reports? They talk about battles with the dark space forces, but the dates and locations don't match what we're told about the war. And look at these orders, they refer to simulated dark space attacks on Council worlds." Lisa's eyes widened. "Simulated? You mean fake?" John nodded, his face serious. "I need more data to be sure, but I think the dark space threat might not be real, or at least not what the Council told us it was." Over the next few days, John's team captured more alien communications and broke into secure files from a damaged alien ship. The more they learned, the clearer the picture became. "We need to get this to General Brown right away," John said, gathering their findings. Traveling across the war-torn country wasn't easy. John and Lisa moved mostly at night, using old subway tunnels and sewer systems to avoid alien patrols. They carried their precious data on small devices hidden in their clothes. After a week of dangerous travel, they reached the mobile headquarters, where General Brown and Mary Cooper were planning the next phase of Earth's defense. "This better be important," Kate said when they arrived. She looked tired. Leading a worldwide resistance against aliens with superior technology was not easy. "It is," John promised. "It changes everything." He connected his devices to their computer system and showed them what he had discovered. The room fell silent as they watched the evidence unfold. "The dark space threat isn't real," John explained. "At least, not the way the Council described it. There is something out there, but it's not an enemy force attacking the galaxy. It's just a natural phenomenon, a region of space with unusual energy patterns." Mary leaned forward. "But the Council has been at war with this threat for centuries." "No," John said. "They've been lying for centuries. The Council's ruling species invented the dark space threat to control the other worlds. They stage fake attacks on outer colonies, then demand soldiers and resources to fight the non-existent enemy." He showed them more translated files. "The real purpose of the Council's military is to keep member worlds in line. Any planet that grows too strong or questions the Council's authority gets a visit from dark space forces. The Council then either destroys them or forces them to send more troops to the fake war." Kate's face had gone pale. "So Earth was invaded not because we refused to fight, but because we questioned the Council's authority," Mary finished. "We showed other worlds that membership was possible without military service." "Exactly," John said. "We were setting a dangerous example. If other worlds followed our lead, the Council's control would fall apart." "Can we prove this?" Kate asked. "Can we show this to the other Council worlds?" John nodded. "That's why we came. If we can broadcast this information to both human fighters and alien troops, we might change the course of the war." They worked through the night, preparing the message and gathering all the evidence. John translated everything into the major languages of the Council worlds. By morning, they had a complete package of data, ready to broadcast. "We can use the aliens' own communication network," Lisa explained. "Their ships connect to a galaxy-wide system. If we can hack into one of their major transmitters, we can send this message everywhere." The plan was dangerous. The largest alien transmitter was in their main base in what had once been Washington, D.C. Breaking in would require a major attack, a distraction big enough to let a small team reach the communication center. Mary developed the strategy, using everything she had learned about alien weaknesses. Kate organized strike teams from resistance fighters across the eastern United States. John and Lisa prepared the technical side, making sure they could quickly upload their message once they reached the transmitter. The attack began at dawn 3 days later. Human fighters hit the alien base from multiple directions, using tactics the aliens still hadn't adapted to. While the main battle raged, John and Lisa, protected by a small team of soldiers, slipped into the base through an underground entrance Mary had discovered. "We have 10 minutes, maybe less," said the team leader as they reached the communication center. "Do what you need to do." Lisa quickly connected their devices to the alien system. "Uploading now," she said. "John, make sure the translation is working." On screens around the room, they could see their message beginning to broadcast. First, to all forces on Earth, then to ships in orbit, and finally to the wider galaxy. The evidence was clear, the translation precise. The great lie at the heart of the Galactic Council was exposed for all to see. Outside, the battle suddenly changed. Many alien soldiers, seeing the proof on their own devices, stopped fighting. Some put down their weapons entirely. Others turned on their commanders, demanding answers. Commander Vex, watching from his command ship in orbit, saw his forces falling into confusion. "Cut all communications," he shouted. "This is human trickery." But it was too late. The message had spread too far. Vex watched in rage as some of his own ships broke formation, their crews in open rebellion, after learning the truth. "If they won't obey," he snarled, "then they are no longer needed." He turned to his loyal officers. "Prepare the orbital weapons. If we can't control Earth, we will burn it." Back on the ground, John and his team were escaping the communication center when they received an urgent message from General Brown. "The alien fleet is repositioning," Kate's voice said through their communicators. "They're preparing for orbital bombardment. Get to shelter immediately." As they ran through the chaos of the battlefield, John looked up at the sky. They had exposed the truth, but had they just made things worse? Commander Vex might now destroy the entire planet rather than lose control. Was it worth it? Lisa asked, quietly as they reached a safe bunker. "Exposing the lie if it gets us all killed?" John thought about it for a moment. "The truth is always worth it," he finally said. "And we're not dead yet." Above them, Vex's fleet prepared to rain fire on Earth. But unknown to the humans below, something unexpected was happening among the stars. The message hadn't just reached Earth, it had reached hundreds of worlds across the galaxy. And many of them had questions for the Galactic Council. Commander Vex stood on the bridge of his flagship, watching Earth through the main viewing screen. His red skin had darkened to almost black with rage. 6 months of fighting had led to this moment. His invasion force was in disarray after John Black's revelation about the dark space threat, but Vex still had loyal ships. "Weapons locked on all major population centers," reported an officer. "Awaiting your command." Vex raised his hand to give the order that would destroy millions of lives. Then a new voice spoke. "Commander, we have multiple ships entering the system." Vex turned sharply. "Our reinforcements?" "No, sir. They're council ships, but not from our fleet. They're coming from at least 7 different council worlds." On the screen, dozens of new ships appeared surrounding Vex's fleet. A communication signal flashed. "Open it," Vex ordered, his voice tense. The face that appeared on the screen was familiar. Ambassador Lorne, who had been replaced by Vex 20 months earlier. "Commander Vex?" Lorne said, his skin shifting to a cool blue color. "By order of the Galactic Council Reform Committee, you will stand down immediately." Vex's eyes widened. "Reform Committee? What nonsense is this?" "The truth about the dark space deception has spread across the galaxy," Lorne explained. "Many worlds have risen against the old Council leadership. I speak for those worlds now." "Traitor," Vex spat. "No," Lorne replied calmly. "I am finally being loyal to the true purpose of the Council. Cooperation between worlds, not control over them." Vex looked at his officers, seeing doubt on many of their faces. "Fire the weapons," he ordered. "Destroy this planet before more are infected with its ideas." No one moved to obey. I said fire, Vex shouted. His second-in-command stepped forward. Sir, we joined to protect the galaxy from the dark space threat. If that threat isn't real, it doesn't matter, Vex snarled. What matters is order, control. The lesser worlds must be kept in line. As Vex raged, more of his officers backed away. On other ships in his fleet, similar scenes played out as crews refused orders to attack Earth. Lorne's voice was sad but firm. Commander Vex, you are relieved of duty. Surrender your ship. What happened next was quick. Vex tried to draw his weapon, but his own officers stopped him. Within an hour, he was under arrest, and control of the invasion fleet had passed to those loyal to the new Reform Committee. On Earth, people watched the alien ships with fear and hope. No one knew what the arrival of more alien vessels meant. Could they trust this Ambassador Lorne? Was this just another trick? In the underground command center, General Kate Brown received a communication request from the alien fleet. Should we answer it? She asked Mary Cooper and John Black, who stood beside her. We should hear what they have to say, Mary suggested. But be ready for anything. Kate accepted the call. Ambassador Lorne's face appeared on their screen. General Brown, Lorne said, I know you have no reason to trust me or any representative of the Council after what has happened, but I am here to offer peace, real peace this time. The last peace offer didn't work out so well for us, Kate replied coolly. Lorne's skin, darkened with what humans had learned was shame in his species. What Commander Vex did was wrong. Many in the Council never approved of the invasion, but those who created the dark space lie had too much power. That has changed now. Over the next few hours, Lorne explained what had happened across the galaxy. John's broadcast of the truth had reached not just Earth but hundreds of worlds. Many had already suspected the dark space threat wasn't what the Council claimed. With proof finally available, rebellions had broken out on dozens of planets. In just 6 days, the old Council leadership has fallen, Lorne said. A reform committee has taken control, with representatives from many worlds, especially those who suffered most under the old system. Kate and her advisors listened carefully, looking for any sign of deception. John analyzed Lorne's language patterns, while Mary studied the historical parallels to other regime changes. What happens now? Kate finally asked. That depends partly on Earth, Lorne replied. Many worlds now look to your planet as a symbol of resistance against tyranny. Your choice to not fight the false war seems wise now, not weak. Your voice would be welcome in building a new galactic community. It took weeks of careful talks before Earth's leaders agreed to meet with the Reform Committee. The meeting was held in orbit above Earth, on a neutral ship. Admiral Wilson, now 85 and in poor health, insisted on attending alongside General Brown, Mary Cooper, and John Black. When Wilson entered the meeting room with the help of a cane, many alien representatives stood in respect. The old admiral had become a symbol of peaceful resistance throughout the galaxy. Admiral Wilson, Lorne greeted him. It is good to see you again, though I wish it were under better circumstances. Wilson nodded slowly. Better late than never, Ambassador. I understand you were working against Commander Vex from within all along. Not effectively enough, Lorne admitted. I should have acted sooner. The meeting lasted 3 days as representatives from 20 worlds discussed how to build a new galactic organization, not based on military control, but on cooperation and mutual benefit. On the 3rd day, Admiral Wilson addressed the gathering. 20 years ago, he said, his voice thin but clear, Earth made a choice that many thought foolish. We refused to fight someone else's war. We chose to heal rather than harm. That choice nearly destroyed us when the truth about that war was revealed. He looked around the room at the alien faces. Some looked very different from humans, but all shared the same serious attention. Now we have another choice to make, Wilson continued. We could turn away from the galaxy, focus only on rebuilding our world. Many on Earth would prefer that. There were murmurs around the room. Several alien representatives looked down, understanding the temptation. But that is not our answer, Wilson said, his voice growing stronger. Earth refuses to be defined by fear or anger, even after all we have suffered. He stood straighter, setting aside his cane. Instead, we offer the same answer. We gave 20 years ago, but with a new meaning. We will not fight your war, but we will work for everyone's peace. The room erupted in sounds of approval from a dozen different species. The new Galactic Confederation was born in that moment, not through military power, but through the choice to cooperate despite past wounds. In the months that followed, Earth became central to the new Confederation. Human doctors, including Tom Reed, returned to their healing work across the galaxy, but now as equals, not servants. Mary Cooper helped establish new educational exchanges to share knowledge between worlds. John Black led efforts to create better communication systems between species. Commander Vex and others who had led the old council faced justice for their crimes. Many were sentenced to help rebuild the worlds they had damaged, including Earth. 1 year after the invasion ended, Admiral Wilson stood on a hillside overlooking the rebuilt city of London. Despite his doctor's warnings, he had traveled to see the new Confederation headquarters being constructed there. "Did you ever think it would end this way?" General Brown asked, standing beside him. Wilson shook his head. "I hoped for peace, but I never imagined our refusal to fight would end up changing the galaxy." Below them, humans worked alongside aliens from a dozen worlds. Children who had hidden from alien soldiers now played with young aliens whose parents had come to help rebuild. "Earth refused to fight the galaxy," Wilson said softly, and in the end that refusal saved both. As the sun set over the new world they were building, the old admiral smiled. The answer Earth had given 20 years ago had finally been understood. True strength lies not in the willingness to fight, but in the courage to stand for peace even against the stars themselves. The Deep Space Monitoring Station on Europa was quiet that morning. Most of the crew were still asleep when the alert came through. Only Jack, the night shift monitor, was awake to see the first blinking red light on his screen. "That's not right," he said to himself, tapping the glass display. The sensor readings showed something massive moving into the solar system. At first he thought it was a mistake. Objects that big didn't just appear out of nowhere. He ran the scan again. The readings were the same. Jack pressed the emergency button. "Captain Reed to the control room, now." Captain James Reed was a tall man with tired eyes. He had been in space for 15 years, 9 of them as captain of the Europa station. Nothing much surprised him anymore, but when he saw the readings, on Jack's screen his eyes opened wide. "How big did you say it was?" he asked. "Almost as big as Earth's moon, sir," Jack replied. "Moving slowly at the edge of our system. No heat signature, no radiation, it's just there." Reed checked the readings himself. "Send word to Earth. We need a team to check this out." 3 days later, the scout ship Horizon left Europa Station. On board were Captain Reed, Dr. Lisa, Brown, and engineer Tom Miller. Lisa was the best xenobiologist in the space program, even though she had never actually met an alien. Tom was strange but brilliant with machines. He had a way of fixing things no one else could understand. "Approaching the object," Reed announced as they neared their target. Through the main window they saw it for the first time. It was smooth and dark gray, shaped like an oval with flat sides. No windows, no visible engines, just a massive shape floating in space. "That's not a natural object," Lisa said, pressing her face against the glass. "Someone built that." Tom said nothing, but he felt a strange buzz in his head like a forgotten song. The Horizon circled the mysterious object, taking readings from all sides. They found what looked like a door on one end. Reed decided they would dock there and try to enter. "Are you sure that's wise, Captain?" Lisa asked. "We don't know what's inside." "That's why we're here," Reed replied. "To find out." The docking was easy, almost as if the giant ship had pulled them in. The door opened without resistance. Reed led the team inside, all 3 wearing their spacesuits just in case. Inside, lights came on as they entered. The air was breathable according to their tools. Slowly, they removed their helmets. How is this possible? Lisa wondered. This ship must be ancient, but everything works perfectly. The halls were wide and tall, with smooth walls covered in strange writing, symbols showing stars, planets, and what looked like maps of the galaxy. One symbol appeared more often than others. 3 vertical lines next to each other with a circle around them. Class-111, Tom said suddenly. Reed looked at him. What? Tom pointed at the symbol. That's what it means. This is a Class-111 world, ship. How could you possibly know that? Lisa asked. Tom shook his head. I don't know. I just do. They walked deeper into the ship. The halls led to bigger rooms filled with strange machines. Some looked like they were made for growing plants. Others had tables that might have been for eating or working. Everything was built for beings about the same size as humans. This was made to carry people, Reed said. A lot of people, like a city in space. A world ship, Tom said. Designed to transport an entire civilization across the stars. In one room, they found what looked like a control center. Panels with more symbols lined the walls. When Tom got close to one panel, his head began to hurt. He reached out and touched it. Images flashed in his mind. Stars exploding. Strange beings, running, a war, then darkness. Tom, Lisa shouted, catching him as he fell back. Are you okay? His eyes were wide. They were running from something. The people who built this ship, they were trying to escape. How do you know that? Reed asked, concerned. Before Tom could answer, a light began to flash on one of the panels. A soft hum filled the room. What did you do? Reed asked. I don't know, Tom said. I just touched it. Lisa checked her tools. Some kind of signal just activated. It's sending out a pulse. Can we stop it? Reed asked. Tom tried touching the panel again, but nothing happened. I don't think so. Reed's communicator beeped. It was Jack from the Europa station. Captain, we're detecting new objects entering the system, fast-moving, like nothing we've ever seen before. Reed looked at his team. We need to go deeper. Find out what this ship is and why it's here before whoever is coming arrives. They moved quickly through more halls until they found a large circular room. In the center was a raised platform with what looked like sleep pods arranged in a circle. All were empty except one. Inside the last pod was a figure. It looked almost human. 2 arms, 2 legs, a head. But its skin had a slight blue tint. It appeared to be sleeping. An alien, Lisa whispered, her eyes wide with wonder. A real alien. Tom stepped toward the pod, drawn by a feeling he couldn't explain. When he got close, his head began to hurt again. He reached out and touched the glass. The pod lit up. The pain in Tom's head grew stronger. He fell to his knees but kept his hand on the glass. Tom, get back, Reed ordered. But Tom couldn't move. The pod opened with a soft hiss. The alien's eyes opened. They were deep blue, almost glowing. It sat up and looked directly at Tom. Hello, it said in perfect English. My name is Alex. I've been waiting for you for a very long time. Reed and Lisa stood frozen in shock. How can you speak our language? Lisa finally asked. Alex smiled. I learned it from him. He pointed at Tom. From me? Tom asked. But we've never met. Not in this life, Alex said. But your ancestors and mine knew each other well. Alex stepped out of the pod. He looked like a young boy, maybe 12 years old in human terms, but his eyes seemed ancient. This ship is called the Seeker, he said. It is the last of the Class-111 world ships built by my people, the Ankai. What is a Class-111 world ship? Reed asked. It is the most advanced vessel ever created, Alex explained, capable of sustaining millions of lives for thousands of years as they travel between stars. But it is also much more than that. A loud alarm sounded from Reed's communicator. Jack's voice came through, panicked. Captain, multiple ships have entered Earth orbit. They're not one of ours. Alex's face turned grave. They found us sooner than I expected. Who found us? Reed demanded. The Vareth, Alex said. They destroyed my world. They hunted us across the stars. And now they've come to your world to find this ship. Why? Lisa asked. What do they want? They want what all conquerors want, Alex said. Power. And the greatest power in the galaxy is in this ship. He looked at Tom. That's why I need your help. Because of what you are. What am I? Tom asked, his voice shaking. You are part Ankai, Alex said, and only someone with Ankai blood can unlock the true power of this ship. Reed's communicator beeped again. Captain, Jack's voice said, the alien ships are landing. They're landing all over Earth. Reed looked at his team, then at Alex. We need to warn Earth. It's already too late, Alex said. The Vareth have arrived, and your world will never be the same. The news spread quickly across Earth. Alien ships had landed in 12 major cities at the same time. New York, London, Tokyo, Beijing, Delhi, Cairo, and others. Each ship was the same, black metal that seemed to drink in light, shaped like an arrow pointing down. Each one was about the size of a small building. No one knew what to do. Some people ran, others stayed to watch. The military surrounded each ship, but no one fired. They were all waiting. General Kate Wilson stood at the edge of the military line in Washington, D.C., watching the ship through her binoculars. After 20 years in the Army, she had seen many things, but nothing like this. Any movement? She asked her second-in-command. No, General, he replied. The ship has been silent since landing 3 hours ago. As if hearing her words, the side of the ship began to change. A door appeared where there had been only smooth metal before. It opened slowly. Everyone stay calm, Kate ordered into her radio. No one fires unless I give the order. A tall figure stepped out of the ship. It looked almost human, but it was over 7 feet tall with gray skin that had a metallic shine. It wore what looked like armor that moved with its body. Its eyes were large and yellow, with no visible pupils. More figures followed the first. One. They carried no visible weapons. The tall one in front looked at the gathered humans and then spoke. Its voice was deep and seemed to come from everywhere at once. People of Earth, it said in perfect English. I am Commander Drac of the Vareth Empire. We have come for what is ours. Similar scenes played out in every city where the ships had landed. The same message in each local language. In the United Nations building in New York, world leaders gathered in an emergency meeting. Screens showed the Vareth commander speaking. We know you have found a Class-111 world ship, Drac said. It belongs to the Vareth Empire. You will tell us its location and surrender all information you have about it. The President of the United States stood up. What gives you the right to make demands? You've landed in our cities without permission. Commander Drac's yellow eyes narrowed. We have the right of power. Your weapons cannot harm our ships. Your technology is primitive compared to ours. To prove his point, Drac raised his hand. A small device appeared in it. He pressed something and all across the room phones and computers stopped working. If you do not cooperate, Drac continued, we will take more than your machines. We will take your world. You have 72 hours to deliver the coordinates of the world ship and all data you have collected. If you fail, we will show you the true meaning of power. With that, Drac and his soldiers returned to their ship. The door closed behind them. The same message was delivered in every city. 72 hours. Give us the world ship, or face destruction. Back. On the world ship, Captain Reed and his team were unaware of what was happening on Earth. Their communication with Europa Station had been cut off after the last message about the alien ships. We need to get back to Earth, Reed said. Warn them about what's coming. Alex, the Ankai boy, shook his head. The Vareth are already there. We don't have much time. What do they want with this ship? Lisa asked. If they're so powerful, why do they need it? Let me show you, Alex said. He led them deeper into the ship, to areas they hadn't explored yet. They came to a large circular room. In the center was a glowing blue sphere about the size of a basketball, floating in the air. This is the Nexus Core, Alex explained. It's the heart of the world ship. It can change matter and energy at will. Tom stepped closer to the core, drawn by something he couldn't explain. The pain in his head returned, but milder this time. What do you mean it can change matter and energy? Reed asked. Watch, Alex said. He picked up a small metal tool from a nearby table and tossed it toward the core. The tool stopped in midair. The blue light grew brighter. The metal began to change shape, melting and reforming. When it dropped to the floor, it was no longer a tool, but a small statue of a bird, perfect in every detail. "That's impossible," Lisa whispered. "Not impossible," Alex said. "Just beyond your current science. The core understands the basic patterns of all matter. It can rearrange atoms and molecules to create anything. And the Vareth want this power," Reed said, understanding now. Alex nodded. "My people, the Ankai, used the core only for creation, to build homes, to grow food, to heal the sick. But the Vareth see it as a weapon. They would use it to conquer worlds, remake them in their image." "They'd be like gods," Lisa said. "False gods," Alex corrected. "The core has limits, and it was never meant to be used for destruction." Tom was still staring at the core. "I can hear it," he said quietly. "In my head. It's singing." Alex put a hand on Tom's shoulder. "That's your Ankai blood. Many thousands of years ago, before my time, the Ankai visited Earth. Some stayed, had children with humans. That blood has been diluted over generations, but it's still there in some of you. It lets you connect with our technology." Reed's face showed concern. "If what you're saying is true, Earth is in serious danger. We need to get back and warn them." "Even if we leave now, it will take days to reach Earth," Lisa pointed out, "and the Vareth are already there." "There's another way," Alex said. He walked to a wall and placed his hand on it. A hidden door opened, revealing a small room with what looked like a circle of light in the center. "This is a jump gate. It can take us directly to Earth." "Like teleportation?" Lisa asked, amazed. "Something like that," Alex said. "The Ankai built them throughout the galaxy. This one is set to Earth." "How is that possible?" Reed asked. "If your people visited Earth thousands of years ago, how would this still work?" "The gates are self-sustaining," Alex explained. "They draw energy from space itself. As long as their pattern remains intact, they function." A loud bang echoed through the ship. "What was that?" Lisa asked. Reed checked his scanner. "Something just docked with the ship. Multiple somethings." Alex's face turned grim. "The Vareth have sent ships here too. They're trying to take the world ship while their commander negotiates on Earth." "Negotiates?" Reed asked. "Or threatens?" "Both," Alex said. "It's how they work. They offer you a choice that isn't really a choice. If Earth gives them the location of the world ship, they'll take it and leave. If not, they'll take it anyway and destroy your world as punishment." "Then we need to stop them," Tom said, surprising everyone with the strength in his voice. "I don't understand all this yet, but I know we can't let them have this ship or this core. The jump gate can only take 3 at a time," Alex said. "And someone needs to stay to make sure the Vareth don't reach the core before we can organize a defense." Reed made a quick decision. "Lisa and Tom go with Alex to Earth. Warn them about what's happening here. I'll stay and slow down the Vareth." "Captain, that's suicide," Lisa objected. "That's an order," Reed said firmly. "Earth needs to know what they're really dealing with, and Tom needs to be protected. If what Alex says is true, he may be the key to all this." Another bang, closer this time. "They're getting in," Alex warned. "We need to go now." Tom looked at Reed. "We'll come back for you, Captain." Reed nodded. "I'll hold them off as long as I can. Now go." Alex activated the jump gate. The circle of light expanded, showing what looked like a room on the other side. "Pull through quickly," Alex instructed. "Think of where on Earth you want to go and the gate will take you as close as it can." Tom and Lisa gave Reed one last look, then followed Alex through the gate. The light flashed brightly, then disappeared, leaving Reed alone. He pulled out his laser pistol and headed toward the sounds of the Vareth forcing their way into the world ship. "Come on then," he muttered to himself. "Let's see what you're made of." The jump gate opened in an empty office building in Washington, D.C. Tom, Lisa, and Alex stumbled through, disoriented from the travel. "Is everyone okay?" Lisa asked, looking around the dark room. Tom nodded, but his face was pale. That was intense. The first jump is always difficult for those not used to it, Alex said. It will pass soon. They found themselves in what looked like an abandoned storage room. Dust-covered boxes were stacked along the walls. A small window showed it was night outside. Where are we exactly? Lisa asked. About 3 blocks from your Pentagon, Alex replied. Tom was thinking of military headquarters when we jumped, so the gate brought us as close as it could. Tom looked surprised. I didn't say that out loud. The gate reads surface thoughts, Alex explained. It's how it knows where to take you. They made their way out of the building and onto the street. The city was in chaos. People were running, some carrying bags, others just trying to get away. Military vehicles moved toward the center of the city. In the distance, they could see the black Vareth ship looming over the mall. We need to find someone in charge, Lisa said. Someone who will listen to us. Tom pointed at a military checkpoint ahead. Let's try there. As they approached, soldiers raised their weapons. Stop right there, one shouted. This area is restricted. Lisa stepped forward, hands up. I'm Dr. Lisa Brown from the Europa Space Station. We have vital information about the aliens. The soldiers looked uncertain until a voice came from behind them. Let them through. The soldiers parted to reveal General Kate Wilson. She looked at the 3 newcomers, her eyes lingering on Alex. Dr. Brown, she said. We received word that the Europa team was investigating an unknown object before communications went dark. I assume this is related to our visitors? Yes, General, Lisa replied. This is Tom Miller, our engineer, and Alex, and who can explain everything better than we can. General Wilson studied Alex. You're not human. No, Alex replied simply. I am Ankai, the last of my kind. Wilson's face showed no surprise. We've had enough surprises today. Come with me. She led them into a secure building where military and government officials were gathered around screens showing the Vareth ships in different cities. Maps covered the walls, marking the landing zones. The president is meeting with the alien commander now, Wilson explained. They're demanding we give them something called a world ship. Based on your arrival, I'm guessing you know what that is. We found it at the edge of the solar system, Lisa explained. It's enormous, ancient, and incredibly advanced. And these Vareth want it badly, Wilson said. Badly enough to threaten the entire planet. They'll do more than threaten, Alex said. The Vareth destroyed my world. They've destroyed many worlds that stood in their way. Wilson turned to Alex. Tell me everything, quickly. Alex explained about the Ankai, how they were a peaceful civilization that developed advanced technology by understanding the quantum structure of reality itself, how they built the world ships to explore and seed life across the galaxy, and how the Vareth, once their allies, turned on them when they discovered the power of the Nexus Core. My people refused to weaponize our technology, Alex said. So the Vareth attacked. The war lasted only days. We were not prepared for violence on such a scale. The survivors fled on the world ships, Tom added. They were hunted across the stars. And now the last ship has wandered into our solar system, Wilson concluded. With you on it. Not just me, Alex said. The Nexus Core is the true treasure they seek. With it, they could reshape reality itself within certain limits. What kind of limits? Wilson asked. The core can only affect matter within about the distance from your Earth to your moon, Alex explained. But within that range, it can change anything. Turn metal to water, create food from waste, build cities in days, or destroy them in seconds, Wilson added. Alex nodded. In the wrong hands, yes. A young officer rushed into the room. General, we have a situation. The Vareth have deployed some kind of devices in the upper atmosphere. Over 100 of them, spread worldwide. What kind of devices? Wilson demanded. Unknown, ma'am. But they're emitting signals into the clouds. Alex's face darkened. Weather modulators. They're preparing to demonstrate their power. As if on cue, the sky outside darkened. Wind began to howl through the streets. Within minutes, rain pounded against the windows, and lightning flashed across the sky. This storm came out of nowhere, Wilson said. watching as hail began to fall. And it's happening all over the world, the officer reported, checking his tablet. Storms, earthquakes, tsunamis forming on coastlines. It's a taste of what's to come, Alex said. A warning. Wilson turned to the room. How long until their deadline? 52 hours, ma'am. And we still haven't told them where the world ship is, Lisa said. The president refused their demands, Wilson replied. Said we don't negotiate with threats. Tom, who had been quiet, suddenly spoke up. Captain Reed is still on the world ship. The Vareth were boarding when we left. One man against who knows how many aliens, Wilson mused. Not good odds. There's something else you should know, Alex said. He looked at Tom. It's about you. Tom shifted uncomfortably. What about me? Your connection to the ship isn't random, Alex explained. The visions, the headaches, understanding the symbols, it's because you have Ankai DNA. The room fell silent. What are you talking about? Tom asked. I'm human, born in Chicago. Thousands of years ago, the Ankai visited Earth, Alex explained. Some stayed, had children with humans. Those children had children of their own. The bloodline thinned over generations but never disappeared completely. So, Tom is part alien? Lisa asked. A very small part, Alex confirmed. But enough to connect with our technology. Enough to potentially control the Nexus core. Tom sat down heavily. That's why I could read the symbols. Why I felt drawn to the ship. Wilson looked at Tom with new interest. If what he's saying is true, you're very valuable right now. To us and to the Vareth. The Vareth don't know about Tom, Lisa said. Not yet. Let's keep it that way, Wilson decided. If he can control this core thing, he might be our only advantage. A loud boom shook the building. Outside, lightning struck a nearby structure, setting it on fire. The storms are getting worse, the officer reported. Reports of damage coming in from all over the world. This is just the beginning, Alex warned. If the Vareth don't get what they want, they'll do much worse. Wilson made a decision. We need to get back to that ship. If it's as powerful as you say, it's our only hope against these aliens. But how? Lisa asked. The Vareth are already there, and Earth is blockaded. Not completely, Alex said. The jump gate on the world ship is connected to the one we used. To get here, we can go back. Then we go back, Wilson said firmly. With more than just 3 people this time. She turned to the officer. Get me our best special forces team. Small, adaptable, used to impossible missions. We're going to steal a world ship from under the Vareth's nose. Tom looked out at the raging storm. What about Captain Reed? He could be. One problem at a time, Wilson said. First, we need to get to the ship. Then we find your captain. And then we figure out how to use this Nexus core to send these Vareth back where they came from. The building shook again as thunder boomed overhead. The weather is just the start, Alex said quietly. The Vareth are showing restraint. For now. Wilson looked at the young alien. Then let's move before they stop showing restraint. The clock is ticking. The storm had not stopped for 12 hours. All across Earth, strange weather patterns caused chaos. Rivers flooded. Winds tore roofs from houses. Lightning started fires that were hard to put out in the heavy rain. In the underground bunker beneath the Pentagon, General Wilson gathered her team. 6 Special Forces soldiers stood in a line, fully armed and ready. Tom, Lisa, and Alex watched as Wilson explained the mission. This is not a normal operation, Wilson told the soldiers. You are going to another world. A ship bigger than anything we've ever built, and it's currently being taken over by hostile aliens. One of the soldiers, a muscular man named Mike, spoke up. What's the objective, General? Primary objective is to secure the ship's core power source, Wilson replied. Secondary is to rescue Captain Reed if he's still alive. The alien boy, Alex, will guide you. Alex stepped forward. The Vareth will be looking for the Nexus core, that's our advantage. They don't know exactly where it is inside the ship. But you do? Another soldier asked. Yes, Alex said. And I know paths they won't expect us to use. Tom was staring at a tablet screen, drawing symbols he had seen on the world ship. The strange headaches had returned, but milder now. Almost like a gentle pressure rather than pain. "What about the Vareth ships around Earth?" Lisa asked. "Once we make our move, won't they attack?" Wilson nodded. "That's why we need to be quick. We're organizing a global resistance effort. Every nation is preparing to strike the Vareth ships at the same time, as a distraction." "It won't be enough," Alex warned. "Their ships are too advanced." "We don't need to win," Wilson said. "We just need to buy you time to reach the core." Tom looked up from his drawing. "I think I understand something about the ship now. The symbols, they're not just writing. They're keys." He showed them the tablet. The symbols he had drawn seemed to glow slightly on the screen. "Each major section of the ship has a control room," Tom explained, not sure how he knew this. "If we can reach one, I might be able to slow down the Vareth, maybe lock some doors." Wilson looked impressed. "That gives us more options. Mike, half your team focuses on getting Tom to a control room. The rest go with Alex to secure the core." "What about me?" Lisa asked. "You know more about the ship than anyone except these two," Wilson said, nodding toward Tom and Alex. "You're the backup. If anything happens to either of them, you need to step in." Outside, the thunder grew louder. The lights in the bunker flickered. "Their demonstration is getting worse," Wilson noted. "We need to move now." They made their way to the abandoned building where the jump gate had brought Tom, Lisa, and Alex to Earth. The room was still empty, but now guarded by soldiers. "How do we activate it?" Wilson asked, looking at the empty space where the gate had been. Alex stepped forward and placed his hand on the wall. Blue light spread from his fingers, forming a circle that grew until it was large enough for a person to step through. "Think of the world ship," Alex instructed the team. "Specifically the room we arrived from. The gate will take us there." Mike and his team checked their weapons. "Ladies first," he said with a grim smile. Lisa took a deep breath and stepped through the gate. The blue light flashed. She disappeared. One by one, the others followed. Tom went last, looking back at General Wilson. 48 hours, she reminded him. "That's all the time we have before the Vareth deadline." Tom nodded and stepped through the gate. On the world ship, the room was dark when they arrived. Alex quickly touched a panel on the wall, and soft lights came on. "Everyone here?" Mike whispered, counting his team. All 8 of them had made it through. Mike and his 5 soldiers, plus Lisa, Tom, and Alex. "The Vareth will have secured the main passages by now," Alex said quietly. "But there are maintenance tunnels they won't know about." He pressed another panel, and a hidden door opened in the wall, revealing a narrow passage. "What about Captain Reed?" Tom asked. "We need to find him." "First the control room," Mike said firmly, "then we can look for your captain." They entered the maintenance tunnel, moving in single file. The passage was tight but tall enough for them to stand. It seemed to go on forever, with occasional branches leading in different directions. Alex led them confidently through the maze. After 20 minutes of walking, he stopped and listened. "Vareth patrols above us," he whispered. "They're moving toward the center of the ship." "Toward the core?" Lisa asked. "Yes," Alex replied. "But they're searching methodically. They don't know exactly where it is." They continued on until Alex stopped again at what looked like a dead end. He touched the wall in a pattern, and another hidden door opened. "The nearest control room," he explained. "Tom, this is where we split up." Mike divided his team. "Johnson, Williams, Park, you're with Tom and Dr. Brown. Secure the control room. The rest come with me and the alien kid to find this core." Tom looked at Alex. "What do I do once I'm inside?" "Place your hand on the main console," Alex said. "Your Ankai blood will do the rest. The ship will recognize you." The team separated. Tom led his group into the control room while Alex and the others continued through the tunnels. The control room was empty but powered up. Screens showed different parts of the ship, many now occupied by Vareth soldiers. They moved in organized, patterns, searching room by room. "They're thorough," Lisa noted. "Military precision." Tom approached the main console, a curved panel with those same strange symbols glowing softly. He placed his hand on it. Instantly, his mind filled with images. The whole ship appeared in his thoughts, every room, every corridor. He could see the Vareth, hundreds of them spreading throughout the ship, and he could see something else, a single human heat signature hiding in a storage room 3 levels down. "Captain Reed," Tom said aloud. "He's alive." "Where?" Lisa asked, urgently. Tom pointed to one of the screens which changed to show the storage room. "There. But he's surrounded by Vareth patrols." "Can you control the ship?" Johnson asked, the soldier keeping watch at the door. Tom focused. Somehow he knew what to do. He moved his fingers across the console, and doors throughout the ship began to close. Lights shut off in corridors where Vareth soldiers were searching. "I'm slowing them down," Tom said. "But they have tools to open the doors. This won't hold them long." On another screen, they saw the other team making progress toward the core. They were moving faster now that the Vareth were delayed by the closed doors. "Wait," Tom said suddenly. "Something's wrong." A new alert appeared on the screen. Outside, the ship, several Vareth vessels were approaching. "They're sending reinforcements," Lisa realized. At that moment, the ship shook violently. Alarms began to sound. "What was that?" Park asked, steadying himself against the wall. "They're attacking." "The ship?" Tom said, reading the symbols that flashed across the screen. "They must have realized someone else is on board." "Can this ship defend itself?" Johnson asked. Tom shook his head. The defensive systems were never activated. The Ankai were peaceful. They never expected to need weapons. The ship shook again. "Need to reach the core," Lisa said. "It's our only hope." Tom looked at the screens, watching both Reed's location and the team heading for the core. He made a decision. "Johnson, you and Williams go find Captain Reed. Park stays here with us to guard the control room," Tom ordered. "I'll guide you through." "The ship." "Those aren't our orders," Johnson objected. "Captain Reed knows this ship," Tom argued. "We need him, and I can help both teams from here." Johnson hesitated, then nodded. "Fine. But be ready to move if things get worse." As Johnson and Williams left, Tom turned back to the console. Through the ship's systems, he could see the Vareth commander on one of the attacking ships. It was Drac himself, the same leader who had threatened Earth. "They're getting desperate," Tom said. "They know we're here and they know what we're trying to do." "Can we still reach the core before them?" Lisa asked. Tom watched the screens, his connection to the ship growing stronger by the minute. "Yes," he said, "but only if I can keep them distracted." He placed both hands on the console and closed his eyes. Throughout the ship, systems began to activate that had been dormant for centuries. The world ship was waking up. The world ship trembled as the Vareth vessels attacked from outside. Inside, Tom's connection to the ship grew stronger with each passing minute. His hands moved across the control panel, as if he had been trained to use it his entire life. "The ship is responding to me," he told Lisa and Park, who watched in amazement. "I can feel it, like it's alive." On the screens, they could see Johnson and Williams fighting their way toward Captain Reed's location. The Vareth had discovered them, and laser fire flashed in the corridors. "They need help," Lisa said, watching the soldiers take cover behind a corner. Tom nodded. He closed his eyes and concentrated. In the corridor where Johnson and Williams were pinned down, panels in the walls suddenly opened. Small floating orbs emerged, glowing with soft blue light. The orbs moved toward the Vareth soldiers and released pulses of energy that knocked them unconscious. "What are those?" Park asked, his rifle still trained on the control room door. "Defense drones," Tom replied, surprised at his own knowledge. The Ankai made them to protect, not to kill. On another screen, they watched Alex leading Mike and the rest of the team through the maintenance tunnels. They were getting close to the Nexus core, but Vareth forces were closing in from all sides. Outside, more Vareth ships had arrived. The attacks on the world ship intensified. "Tom," Lisa said, pointing to a new alert on the screen. "Look at this." A message from Earth appeared. General Wilson's face was grim as she reported. "The Vareth have escalated their attacks. Major cities are experiencing severe earthquakes. Coastal areas are being hit by tsunamis. Millions of people are in danger. Whatever you're going to do it now." Tom felt the weight of responsibility pressing down on him. We need to get to the core. That's the only way to stop this. But what about Captain Reed? Lisa asked. And the others? Tom made a quick decision. I can guide them all from here, but I need to focus. Park, guard the door. Lisa, watch the screens and tell me if anything changes. He placed both hands on the console again and closed his eyes. This time he let himself sink deeper into the connection with the ship. In his mind, he could see the entire vessel as if he were looking at a three-dimensional map. He could feel every system, every circuit, every power flow. With a thought, he sent more defense drones to help Johnson and Williams. With another, he opened a hidden path for Alex's team to reach the core. Then he focused on the Vareth ships attacking from outside. The world ship had no weapons, but it had shields. Tom activated them, and a shimmering blue barrier appeared around the ship, deflecting the Vareth attacks. It's working, Lisa said, watching the screens. The shields are holding. On one screen, they saw Johnson and Williams reach the storage room where Reed was hiding. The captain looked tired and injured, but alive. He had been fighting a guerrilla war against the Vareth for hours, using whatever he could find as weapons. Captain, Johnson shouted as they entered the room. Time to go. Reed looked up, surprised. How did you get here? Long story, Williams replied. But Tom Miller is controlling the ship somehow, and we need to get to the core. On another screen, Alex's team had reached the entrance to the core chamber. But Vareth soldiers had found another way in and were already inside. No, Lisa gasped. They've reached the core. Tom opened his eyes. We need to get there now. All of us. He sent a message to both teams, directing them to the core chamber. Then he, Lisa, and Park left the control room, running through the corridors that Tom now knew by heart. As they ran, the ship shook again. The Vareth attacks were getting more intense, and even the shields were beginning to fail. General Wilson just sent another message, Lisa said, checking her communicator. The Vareth on Earth are saying they'll destroy everything if they don't. Get the ship in the next hour. They're getting desperate, Tom replied. That means we're close to stopping them. They reached the core chamber just as Reed, Johnson, and Williams arrived from another direction. Alex and his team were already inside, engaged in a firefight with Vareth soldiers. The chamber was massive, with the glowing blue Nexus core floating in the center. Vareth soldiers fired energy weapons at Mike's team, who had taken cover behind pillars around the room. In the center of the Vareth forces stood Commander Drac himself. He had come aboard from his ship and was approaching the core. Stop them, Tom shouted. More defense drones appeared from hidden compartments, flooding the room and attacking the Vareth. In the confusion, Mike's team advanced, taking out more soldiers. Tom ran toward the core, knowing that he needed to reach it before Drac. The Vareth commander saw him coming and fired his weapon. The blast hit the floor near Tom's feet, sending him tumbling. Tom, Reed shouted, firing his borrowed Vareth weapon at Drac. The commander turned and shot Reed in the shoulder. The captain fell back, wounded but still conscious. Humans, Drac said, his voice cold. You have no idea what power you're meddling with. This technology belongs to the Vareth now. Alex appeared beside Tom, helping him to his feet. Tell him why you want it so badly, Drac, the boy said. Tell them the truth. Drac hesitated, then laughed bitterly. Why not? You'll all be dead soon anyway. He turned to the humans. My people are dying. A genetic disease is killing us slowly. We need the core to rewrite our genetic code to save my species. So you would destroy other worlds to save your own? Lisa asked, helping Reed sit up. Without hesitation, Drac replied. Survival is all that matters. That's where you're wrong, Tom said, standing up straight. The Ankai understood that all life is connected. That's why they built the world ships, to preserve life, not just their own. Tom started walking toward the core again. Drac raised his weapon, but Alex stepped in front of Tom. He's right, Alex said. The core was never meant to be a weapon. It was meant to heal, to create, to bring worlds together. Stand aside, child, Drac ordered. I can't do that, Alex replied, and neither can he. Tom stepped around Alex and continued toward The core. Drac fired, but the blast seemed to curve around Tom, missing him completely. What? Drac shouted in confusion, firing again with the same result. Tom reached the core and placed his hands on it. The blue glow intensified, spreading up his arms and throughout his body. His eyes began to glow with the same blue light. Understand now, Tom said, his voice echoing strangely in the chamber. This was never about power, it was about connection. The blue light spread throughout the chamber, touching everyone, humans and Vareth alike. Images appeared in the air around them. Stars being born, planets forming, life evolving. The entire history of the galaxy played out before their eyes. We are all part of the same story, Tom said, the knowledge of the Ankai flowing through him. The Vareth, the Ankai, the humans. We all came from the same stars. The light grew brighter, and something changed. The Vareth weapons transformed in their hands, becoming simple tools. Outside, the attacking ships stopped firing as their weapon systems changed form. What have you done? Drac demanded, looking at his transformed weapon. I've reminded the core of its true purpose, Tom replied. Not destruction, but creation. Not division, but unity. The blue light spread beyond the ship, reaching toward Earth. The weather control devices the Vareth had deployed began to change, transforming from tools of destruction into machines that healed the atmosphere and stabilized the weather patterns. The core is rewriting your technology, Alex explained to Drac. Not to harm you, but to save you. It will heal your genetic disease just as you wanted, but it won't let you harm others to do it. Drac fell to his knees, watching as the blue light touched his skin. He could feel the change beginning, the disease that had been killing his people slowly being corrected. Why? He asked, looking up at Tom. Why would you help us after what we did? Because that's what the Ankai would have done, Tom replied. And that's what humanity chooses to do. We help those in need, even our enemies. The glow around Tom faded, and he stepped back from the core. It still floated in the center of the chamber, but now it pulsed with a new rhythm, as if it were breathing. What happens now? Reed asked, his wound already healing from the core's energy. Tom looked at Alex, then at Drac, then at his fellow humans. Now we learn from each other. The world ship will take its place in Earth orbit. It will be a bridge between worlds, a place where Vareth, humans, and the reborn Ankai can work together. A new beginning, Lisa said, smiling. For all of us, Tom agreed, as the blue light of the Nexus core continued to spread throughout the galaxy, healing, connecting, and bringing worlds together.